Yo, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Kick It with Russ. Today I'll be talking about my different type of chassis here that I got. These are all rear-wheel drive, and I'll go a little bit into them. I'll talk a little bit about each chassis here that I have. But yeah, these are the bodies, the FC, got the Yokomo Treno, and a Pandora that has a engine bay with a removable hood, bumpers, and there's also a sound system in there with a pet cup driver in there. You see? But yeah, so I'll be talking a little bit about them and why I think it's much easier to go with a chassis that's already made for rear-wheel drive drifting. All right, guys, so as I was saying, these are the three chassis here that I have. Okay, let's start with this one, which is my first chassis that I built. Oh well, I had this chassis for a while, but now I have this one. This is the first chassis that I bought, which is a rear-wheel drive by Yokomo. This is the YD2S. Nothing special. I mean, it's stock. It just has a, new springs and whatnot, but it has a brushless BLSP4 in it. The boost is on. I'm running just the regular FlySky controller, which works very well. And this is a V4 gyro that I'm using with, of course, the shorty pack. I like to run it on the longer way rather than sideways, only because I figure that, with everything centered, there's a much nicer weight balance that's there. Don't mind this. I had like a Yakult cup that was actually hooked up to this to give it that realistic engine sound, but I kind of took it off because of restriction. So yeah, so going back to it, this is actually my first chassis that I built. This thing hooks really well. It's on Yokomo DRCs. I got the magnetic body posts. As you can see, there's nothing really much special about it, but it does drift really well. There's just a minor fine-tuning that you will need to be doing when first starting this type of RC drift cars, and as soon as you get it down, they run. I mean, it depends on the driver's standing point, but for me, the way it's set up now, it's pretty awesome. So going on to the next one here, this is actually a chassis that I built for my son. This is the YD2E. This thing, again, we have a bottle cap here that had a cup here that made the realistic sound. But yeah, he's running an old version of the SP3 Yokomo brushless with a shorty pack as well, V4 gyro, and he's also using a FlySky controller. Don't mind him. If you guys want one of him, you can go ahead and check out I think it was Popeyes. I think they gave it with like the kids meal, if I'm not mistaken. But he wanted to put it in, and I was like, okay, let's do that. But anyways, we're both running Yokomo servos. These are the S007, I believe, which they respond pretty well. I highly suggest that, some guys like the other servo, which is much slower, but I prefer this one because it reacts just as fine. When running the servo, I think it's best to run it within the brand, which is like, Yokomo with Yokomo. So I think just because of the gyro being connected with it, it'll respond way much better and give you a much better smooth transition, I would say, as for your steering cooperating. So yes, so that's that with this chassis. This is the YD2E, as I was saying. This one is a little tricky to set up. I don't know if it's just the chassis itself or the design and the weight, and because the motor is mounted on the bottom compared to this where the motor is actually on the top. So this one needed to be a lot more fine-tuned than this one. This one I kind of got away with just a little adjustment. So that's the two different types. And then here, as you can see, it looks almost like a Frankenstein built, which is pretty much what I would call it. It is a Frankenstein built chassis. This is actually my Red Cat. If you watch my previous vlogs, I did a Red Cat conversion, and this is it right here. What I've done to it so far was, let's see here, I've shaved the center, the middle center, just to fit the battery to go sideways. Like if you've previously watched my other vlog, I've center mounted the motor, which I might be changing out to a brushless very soon. One thing I added new was these links here. The reason why I added these links was because no matter how much I turned the gyro down or up, I would seem to have the wheel shaking, which can indicate that the sensitivity can be too much or too little for that assist of counter steering. So this whole time, because I converted the whole front, well, not really converted, but I pretty much hacked up the whole hub, the lower control arm, as well as the C hub, the knuckles itself. Because I did all of that, and of course, if you can see here, I notched out the gearbox on the front and made these plates here. And this one is only running a GR Racing. I just found this servo, but it works wonderful, and it does have a V4. I highly suggest everyone getting a V4 gyro, just because it's a lot more stable for some reason. But anyways, going back to this conversion, yeah, so I added this link due to it being all wheel slop and all that stuff. That will actually trigger the gyro. It needs to counter, but it's actually not. Well, this actually corrected it, and it made the gyro react way much better. This is actually just the stock factory speed control and motor. I haven't really updated anything on this. The diffs are open diff. One thing that I really like is I converted the shocks to YD2 stock shocks, which are like these, which I fitted onto here. All I did was grind down the towers just to make it flat, and then I relocated the bottom, as you can see. So the original position would be here, but I moved it here. And because it's plastic, it's easier to just, you know, go ahead and drill it through. But I will be swapping the front end out to aluminum just to get more stability up front. And then of course for the rears, I've done the same. I've added a YD2. As you can see, they're kind of leaking, but I mean, it's a common thing. And I added, you know, here's a tire weight here that, you know, allows it to get more downforce on the rear. But yeah, I like the way the suspension feels compared to what stock was. So yeah guys, this car, I mean, it performs pretty well. I think it just needs a brushless to give it more speed in order to keep up with these guys here, the actual rear-wheel drive chassis that's been made to do what it's supposed to do. Like I said, this was pretty much a Frankenstein build. And then going back to the topic, why I think it's best to just go with an actual rear-wheel drive kit instead of converting so much is because of pretty much this is what you got to deal with. You got to deal with the wheel slop, changing out the whole front end. This one, it's a single arm. If you go with the stock one, it's much thicker. This is the stock touring cars. You would need to modify it in order for it to get wheel clearance, as you can see, just like that. That way it doesn't rub and such. And of course you would need to notch out the C-hubs here just so the tie rod ends would go through. So at the end of the day, it's best to invest in one of these, only because they're already made to do what it's supposed to do and be, which is the rear drive chassis. And of course, if you can get yourself a brushless system, go with the Yokomo, only because there's the option of adding boost, which is super awesome. I mean, you'll need it if you're doing like a longer track or something that's going to require a lot more power and a lot more speed, and it helps a lot. So these are my 3 chassis, guys. These are the bodies. Well, let me show you this here. So I got the actually dismounted portable speaker that we got for like Black Friday sale, which is like 10 bucks. And I made my own custom box, as you can see inside. Kept the driver simple, hid everything underneath. So here's my switch here, and then this is all Bluetooth operated. So here's the battery. This whole actual petcock with those sounds and everything on it actually adds a good amount of weight to the vehicle, which I needed. So the power actually plants to the chassis, which is good. And then as far as this one, like I've said, I had to really tune the chassis. The suspension is stock. Both chassis have different springs on them. I think we both are running, I believe they're black up front and blue rears. This one has Yokomo springs also, which is pink up front with black rears. They perform really well as long as you get some kind of suspension travel and you know what you're doing as far as finding, you know, weight balance and how to get speed and such, or it depends what are you going for. So yeah, and of course my Yokomo Treno body here, and then that's pretty much it, guys. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and this is just a short clip on, you know, giving you guys a perspective of, you know, either you want to convert a chassis or you just want to go ahead and go with a Yokomo YD2 chassis. There's guys that convert, you know, TT02s, TT01s, and of course the Yokomo Drift package that they first came out with. The conversion I think is like $100. I kind of forgot what it comes with, but I looked into it and I thought it was pretty cool. So that's how I actually got the idea of center mounting my Red Cat here. But yeah, I think in all, I think it's best to just go with a chassis that's already made to do rear-wheel drive, which is the Yokomo YD2S, the E, the SX. They got like different models now that's coming out with much more nicer things included, such as towers, carbon towers, aluminum parts. You know, they already come with the kit. I mean, it depends on your budget also. The more you want to go into it, and if you know you're gonna spend a lot more later, and if you have enough, I suggest that you go with the higher models, just so you don't have to, you know, buy things later. Don't mind my daughter, she's actually talking in the back. But yeah, that's it for today's vlog, guys. I just wanted to do a quick video on, you know, what I highly suggest on doing and what I choose based upon my experience of converting and actually owning. And the performance are just two different ball games. It's not even I wouldn't say it's the same because they perform differently. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to have something that's converted to say that you converted it and you tried. But if you're gonna go performance wise, go with the Yokomo YD2 and you'll see the big difference. But alright, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you like what you've seen. Please hit that notification bell, and always please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.